All right, cyber traders, welcome on back here this Thursday. I can finally officially say it's Thursday at least. March 31st, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Great to see all of our students live inside the Cyber Group room. Great to see all of us as well on social media. And I can say finally because I've been thinking like this whole week ahead, like Tuesday as if it's Wednesday, Wednesday yesterday as if it's Thursday. It's been a long week. Great to see Gary, Felix, all of us otherwise live inside the Cyber Group room. I know Norman picked up 15 cents. Not on the LGVN here, another stock, NNOX, which we'll get to in a bit. Felix ended up picking up just over $1 on the LGVN here just now. He was in from 11.15, and Gary just got out with about 16 or so. He was in from 12.15. He was in from. So, hey, folks, what we'll do is pretty much just cover this stock to begin, and we'll just go right from top to bottom otherwise. We don't have class this afternoon, but I do have a coaching call at 3 o'clock. So I want to make sure I'm ready to go for that. But with that said, LGVN, man, ended up making a big push pretty much as soon as the market had opened up. But from there, came back down. It started to get really choppy. And, normally with that in mind, you would hope to see this type of run, but it's not guaranteed. Oftentimes for a stock that's already up, what was it, like 35-40% pre-market? Well, you tend to see it dump back down a bit. Not everything just continues to run like this would after the open. So with that, it was a little, indecisive, but we ended up seeing it begin to really squeeze once it broke that top, roughly off of 10 and 970 from pre-market that was, and then ended up really going from that point, accelerating up towards just about 12 and change. And from there, though, that's where things got a little dicey again. So I'll tell you, I mean, this last move up once again caught me by surprise. I did well on the first run up, and I ended up leaving a lot of money on the table there too. I picked up just about $1, but I ended up, just leaving a little on the table. It's all right. Well, came back down. Well, I stayed away from this trade up until I think it was like 2 o'clock, even maybe 2:05 Eastern time. I ended up jumping in. I was off to a good start, roughly off the 11 level, 1090 in fact it was at. And then from there, it came back down. It stopped me out for a -3. Essentially, I would call it a break even. But I stayed away from it again. I thought it was going to tank. I thought it was going to drop all the way down to 10 at least. So completely took me by surprise with this, new run up here heading into the afternoon. So for right now, obviously, we're gonna put this on the watch list just to begin. It will probably be at the top by the end. I'll just simply say this. This is just free advice for pretty much everybody. We expand upon this a lot further throughout the phase 1, 2, and 3 curriculum. But, it's to say for a stock moving like this throughout the day, and you've seen it happen on 2 separate occasions already here with the LGVN. For a stock that continues to go and go and go, you begin to wonder, when's it going to begin to top? And the question, as I teach in class a lot further, is not so much when will it top, but more where will it top. So with that, I would just keep the whole number levels in mind. We were looking at 10, 11, 12 just earlier, now 13. So, you can see it basically move up towards 13, 1277 there, the peak. I don't know if there's another iceberg order, perhaps under 13, but I would still assume 13 to be a major resistance heading into the afternoon here for this trade. It's been a lot of talking here. Oh my God. All right, let's go from top to bottom here. Otherwise, for any of the other stocks that ended up running, like the SABS trade, CLBS, a bunch of others here. We'll just kind of see what's doing. All right, the first of many water breaks. With that, the SABS trade, I know Will was looking at this trade at least, going into this meeting. I was asking all of our students inside the chat board, just, hey, what are you watching right now? So Will said the SABS, and at the time, I wasn't watching it. My first look, and it was looking pretty good. Well, it was beginning to make lower highs since pretty much like this wedge or pennant pattern that you can kind of call it. But with that, it needs to make another big pop soon. So the volume's been dying off on this trade since the last run up. And I'll say here, as I typically say on a lot of these stocks, and I could have said it on LGVN from earlier, but when the volume dies off on a stock, typically so does the stock, so does the trade. So, be on the lookout here for a bit of a shakedown here off support. Hopefully it ends up running like the LGVN and it makes another pop sooner than later. But, we'll give this a look, SABS. All right, we got the warrants for ISPO here. We're going to skip over like any warrants or whatnot, but ISPO itself here down a little bit lower on the gainer side. We'll jump to that in a bit. The CLVS trade, hey, this one for right now, it's dropping off a little bit right now, but yeah, I mean, it's not as good of a pick for the afternoon. I am in this off of 235 exactly right from here, so I'm just going to keep an eye on this on my other screen, but I wanted to see if it was going to begin to make a move off support. It started to, but it's just been flat since. I ended up getting it on this trade shortly after 215. But otherwise, just because I'm in it doesn't mean I'm going to put it on the main watch list. This is more of like kind of like a hopeful type of move. If it ends up popping during this meeting, then I will put back on our list. But let's see what we have here in the meantime, though. The CPSH trade. Hey, this one looks good. The chart looks all right. It's a double top at the highs, but it's only trading about 4,000 shares per minute. Not really a whole lot going on with that, right? So, I'll even come back to this at the end. I would want to see more volume traded across this year, going into the afternoon. All right. ICVX, not a whole lot there. JAGX, not a whole lot happening there, I can tell. We'll keep it going. I see Norman's trade, the NNOX stock here. So we'll take a look at that next. IMTE ended up making a nice move from earlier this morning. Dropped down at first, but then made that kind of famed slingshot type of move. Broke under and over from 18 and then completely took off up towards 30 plus. All right, so Norman picked up 15 cents. He was in on the NNOX trade. Just going up here on the chat, I saw Gene just pick up 10 cents on the ISPO. Norman ended up getting 15 cents from 11.55 as his entry. So this was from prior to us beginning the meeting. Great exit at least, from Norman there. Ended up dropping down. Looks like it kind of broke under and over that resistance you could just see from the chart. What is that, like 11.45, 11.50? Just kind of the highs here. This could be a nice little trade right now. Now, if it pulls right back down under that same very level, then, false breakout. I would expect a lower low should that happen here. So I'll come back to it at the end. It looks interesting. Not fully convinced just yet. If it's a false breakout and it dumps off, then it wouldn't be worth it. All right, CELZ. Kind of just call this a tradable stock. Ended up making a bit of a choppy move throughout the morning. Nice little bounce just going into the early afternoon here. So, it's, a sideless stock for right now. If it pops more, like, I always say during this meeting, then we'll come back to it. That's why I want to save the list for stocks that look like the WWR for right now. All right, so this one's a no-brainer, at least to put it on our watch list. Nice breakout here from 205 up to 227. About a 44,000, 45,000 share iceberg order on the ask at 229. So just keep that 229 level in mind here on my level 3. Now, when WWR moves at times, we tend to see other like energy type stocks look to move. Pola in the past ended up making a big move with this WWR. There's one other, so I think Sun W. Neither are doing jack right now. All right, maybe it's news specific to the company. Who knows? But yeah, WWR looks great. The stock, at least itself. I'll kind of skim down the remaining parts of this list here. The ISPO. I know that Gene just picked up some money on that just before. It's like a flat move right now. It's kind of looking like my CLVS from before, right? So, I have my stop set now on the CLVS trade, just so you folks know I didn't have it set as I kind of went through that. But the ISPO is like, probably 100 times more volatile in the sense of the lack of liquidity on the order book. So with that, I mean, just this stock could begin to make a bit of a shakedown within a moment's notice. I hope that's not the case. It's just flat otherwise. So for right now, I'm not really fully convinced. But, who knows, maybe later on. But all right, we keep it going. GOED, good chart. Trading about 8,000 shares a minute. And I'll tell you, looking at the order book, that's not really too little. I'd say that's all right. This thing looks interesting for right now. A little slow, So if it ends up dying off after this meeting, then let's scratch it off the list. But for right now, it's in good standing here, good faith. So I like this little push so far in the GOED, perhaps on the way up to test 2. Let's see what else we got here to finish up. LITM, CLEU, a couple of familiar names at least. This thing's not looking good. All right, so with that, I think it's best to just hop on over to the loser side. Market's been trotting on down at least, steadily heading into this meeting. So, I'm sure there's going to be some stocks to follow that are down that, 6, 8, 10+%. Bunch of stuff to top off the losers list, at least hard to borrow, aside from Path here. Path was a nice short from earlier this morning. Now it looks like it's trying to make a little bit of a dead cat bounce, trying to grind back on up from like 2050-ish, broke back over 21, and moving back on up here towards the VWAP and pretty much 22. So as far as the tradable stock, doesn't hurt us to put this on our list, the Path trade. Still shortable. If it makes a lower high here, it could begin, nice pullback, or otherwise nice trend at least off the lows, on this dead cat bounce. So this could be a nice continued move up towards 22. So either way, it seems like a nice volatile, trading a lot of volume type of stock. All right, let's see what else we got here. SC or SHCR. We have VNet. Just easy to borrow trades. Just looking at here pretty briefly. I can just tell nothing really else that looks too much like a familiar name. At least, I mean, there's definitely a lot more that's down here. I'll just kind of take a quick scan, quick look. I think YI's ETF, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not. Either way, the chart doesn't look good. All right, I think that's pretty much it. As far as I can see, I'll go through some side list stocks now at this point. So the NEO trade, this stock was a great short from earlier this morning, broke down below 22. It actually broke under a stack of iceberg orders that popped up early in pre-market. So that ended up happening just minutes right before the market opened up. And from there, when the market did open up, just completely tanked, gave me no chance to try and short it from those price levels. And then from there, I had to try and readjust. But from 21.50, I ended up getting it on this trade. It was for about 35 cents at the time, 30 to 35 cents it was around. But, I ended up leaving money on the table, continued down towards just about 20.80, 20.75. Right now, if it was at the lows, I'd be a lot more interested in it. SPY looks like it just wants to continue to break down. It kind of just pushed up a bit and slammed right back down to the lows here. It's been holding above. American Airlines actually having a pretty decent day comparative to the SPY. CCL too. CCL I did call out earlier today, at least heading into the late morning, making a really nice push then. And right now it's kind of hanging in there. I don't know if news came out, earnings, or any sort of upgrade, downgrade, but yeah. I got stopped out, by the way, in CLVS, -1, but that wasn't really looking to go anywhere. I was hopeful for it to make the bounce. The LGVN trade looks really good still, folks. That's already on our watch list. One of us just on YouTube chatted that to us here. Mark calling out the LAC trade. Yeah, LAC looks really good. Wow. I mean, I guess it wasn't up enough as I went from top to bottom on the gainers list, or wasn't it? Maybe I just kind of skipped over it. Yeah, it was towards the bottom here. LAC. Yeah, this was a really nice run from the last, or from really yesterday. Really, it's approaching all-time highs, I think, right? Just broke over 40 for the first time back since it, hit that high. So let me just get that all-time high for us here really quick. That was back from the end of last year. 41.56 is technically the all-time high. Still has a little bit of a ways to go, but it's getting there. Relatively speaking, it's pretty close. Keep this in mind, not only for this afternoon, but really going into tomorrow, going into next week, if it can hold kind of strong towards there. All right, that was a lot of buying off of 40, by the way. So, off the first test of it, you'd expect for it to fail. Well, let's see what happens going into the next hour and 15 minutes, because I feel like this trade's not over with yet. All right, Donald, nice catch. Donald on the LGVN, at least picking up 10 cents. It ended up pushing up a little bit higher, but don't look to jump right back in, look to kind of reassess. The LGVN trade's actually on the way up towards that 13 right now as we speak. So I'll tell you what, we got a little time. Bitcoin ended up dropping off a tiny amount. I wasn't planning on doing a whole analysis type of video as I would here in this meeting, but it dropped off down towards the 200 EMA on my hourly chart, holding above there pretty nicely for right now. So as I kind of teach in stocks, if it's not going to break higher at the time, there's only one other way it's going to go. So Bitcoin failed to continue to make that big pop and pulled back a little bit, but I'm still very bullish, at least on the short-term move here. So I'll come out with another video over the next couple of days on Bitcoin. Still looking good. In fact, actually, I'll probably do another stream later on tonight. So, we'll actually do that. We'll jump back on YouTube live stream later on this evening. More of a chat, no audio based just yet. A lot of talking throughout the day, as you can now tell throughout my stutters during this meeting. But, otherwise, it's more of a chat type of session on YouTube later on this evening at 6 o'clock. If you're interested in joining that, just subscribe right to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/cybertradingu. Just have the Bitcoin chart up with alongside a couple of others. Ivan, how about that? One of our members joining us here inside the trading room. Ivan picked up just about 20 or so cents on the TISI. Let's take a look on that. Wow, the LGVN blasted over 13 off the retest. It broke above it, pulled back, and then when it re-broke above it, this just being just the next bar, but there's your higher high for right now. TISI, as far as a day trade, I mean, a great trade from Ivan. Phenomenal catch from Ivan. It seems like from bottom to top. It's up 10+%, but it's like a slow mover right now. It's not really looking like too, momentum packed here heading into the final hour or so of the day. So very nice trade from Ivan. But for right now, I'll pass on this. From Linda, the PLPX or BLBX, I think maybe. Was it PLPX? Maybe I typed it. BLPX. If it's the BLBX trade, Linda, let's see. It's up 11%, but there's no volume to it right there. So pass on her for right now. She corrects herself. PLXP. There we go. Nah, not really doing much either. You got to have a lot more volume than this traded across the day for us to be interested in it. And volume is not the only criteria. So, that's something that we do teach throughout the Phase 1 stock course. We talk about that throughout our scanning classes. We have another class called Tradable, Not Tradable. Just breaks down the basics of, what we look for in a trade altogether. Yehuda on the LGVN trade, he got about 30 cents on that trade. Got it in right from over 13. Cool. Johanna says Tilray could move voting on marijuana possibly tomorrow. Tilray is more just a sideless stock for this afternoon, but should that be the case, then we'll definitely keep it in mind for tomorrow morning. If it was making a much better move right now, like as I'm talking, I would be more convinced, but for right now, it just looks like it kind of normally trades, just kind of a sideless stock. Hey, if you want to follow it for us, or if anyone else does really well on Tilray, day to day, more week to week, then hey, put it on your personal watch list. It's definitely, a tradable stock. This I'd rather more follow compared to some of the others, at least, right? But I like the list so far though, as is. I feel like we're pretty good. Even that GOED, let me go back to that. That's not looking like too great, not too fast moving, but it's up over 8%. It's at the highs at least. It hasn't dumped off yet, so we'll keep this on our list for right now. The CPSH I kind of had on the side. It's at the highs, but this one's trading less volume per minute. So, I'm going to pass on this if I'm going to put the other on. And then the NNOX for right now. This one's trying to make a squeeze back up. This one I will put on our list, the NNOX trade. At least for right now, kind of going back to those stocks I'd said I'd get to at the end. All right, folks, for all of us on Facebook Live, YouTube, as always, I appreciate you sticking with me each and every day, each and every afternoon. A little bit of a dry mouth this afternoon, a little under the weather also. So, hey, folks, I appreciate you even more. So if you have any other questions, feel more than free to send on over an email to josh@ctutrading.com. That's my email address. I always like to post it here at the end of these streams. If I can post, give me a quick second here. It's taking sweet time. But for Johannes, for Norman, for Grant, for Yehuda, Linda, Ivan, and all of us otherwise, I look forward to talking to you folks coming up right at 3:30 Eastern. Talk to you soon.